We are live. I'm a little early, but I wanted to hurry up and get on and chat with you guys. It's been a while since I've been on live, so I just wanted to get on here and talk some boxing. All right, so I'm gonna let a few more people join us, and then we get into the topics of the day. We're gonna talk some of the upcoming fights and some of the other boxing news that's going on. All right, and that's it. All right, so let's wait for a few more people to join up, and let's get right into it. What's up? So I have my little list here. We're going to speak on Virgil Ortiz against Bohachuk. We're going to speak a little bit on Jared Anderson against Martin Bakole, Inoue against Doheny, and Loma against Tank. So we're gonna do a lot of little topics. Got to touch on some of the things that I made video. We're gonna touch a little bit more on the Shakur Stevenson situation. I heard a good video from Coach Malachi today with Steve Kim, and we discussed a little bit on Shakur, even though I made a couple videos about him already. There's a few things I forgot to bring up when speaking on Shakur. All right, but we're gonna start out with him and breeze through it, and him and the William Zepeda situation, and we'll go from there. Adari, what's up, man? Muted mic. Adari says, can you imagine a hybrid cross mix between Terrence Crawford and Jared Ennis, but has a heavyweight boxer? I mean, that's pretty much like a Marvel superhero at this point. I think that would be a little too much. But as a heavyweight, I mean, where did you get that from? Like, that idea would be crazy. It doesn't even sound realistic, to be honest, because most of these heavyweights are too big to even move anywhere near as fluid as those two, and be that size. So I don't know about that. All right. But yeah, we're gonna get a few more people to join, and we're gonna get straight into it, man. I don't want to keep y'all up too late. It is already late. Zen, what's up with you, man? How you doing? All right. All right. So definitely smash the like button, hit the thumbs up on your way in. So yeah, I just pretty much wanted to go live. It's been a minute, it's been a while since I've been live. So I just wanted to get back on the live because it's been like a month and I've missed the last few weeks in the live commentary part. So I haven't been live, just regular live, and not even done commentary in a few weeks. So I just wanted to get on here and chop it up with you guys and just talk boxing, but be live so I can read some of your comments and stuff. What's up, Focus? How you doing? All right. So before we get into the upcoming fights, I just wanted to touch a little bit more on Shakur Stevenson situation. So I heard a video with, shout out to Coach Malachi. He had Steve Kim as a guest, I guess today. And there was a point in the video where they discussed Shakur Stevenson and moving forward. And Steve Kim, who called into his show, basically provided a lot of information about a potential fight between Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda. Now, the video I put out yesterday was probably maybe an hour, a couple of hours before they announced that the WBC was going to announce the mandate the William Zepeda fight against Shakur Stevenson. Now, right after that came out, Oscar De La Hoya took to Twitter and he said, that Zepeda has other options. Like he's ranked high in the 4 sanctioning bodies. So look, I think Oscar has made it clear to this point that he's going to look for the best option. He's tweeted and said that Shakur Stevenson will not be fighting William Zepeda unless he is signed with Golden Boy. All right. And that he's been in talks with Shakur Stevenson. We know that Shakur is now a free agent, right? He's not with Top Rank anymore. All right. Top Rank offered him 5-fight, $15 million deal, which is pretty much like $3 million per fight minimum, you know. And I already made, you know, I gave you my view on that. I personally think that that's a good deal. But I honestly thought that Shakur should at least shop his other options. And to add to that, I don't like when Shakur, like, I don't like when fighters in general feel they have to diss the past promoter in order to move forward. You know, like Shakur did a lot in this, and I know Terrence Crawford didn't have a good ending to the relationship with Top Rank, but I don't feel like you have to necessarily diss him. Like, he made a point, like, they don't know how to deal with black fighters, right? That's the point he says. And yeah, Bob Arum, you can say that about certain fighters in the past, about him being a promoter. But what I will say when it comes to Top Rank, I think Top Rank is one of the best when it comes to building new and up and coming fighters, keeping them active throughout the year. And a lot of those fighters are black. Jared Anderson is one of them. Keyshawn Davis is another. Shakur was another one. Crawford, and all the guys that's up and coming like right now, like, there are a lot of black fighters that are with Top Rank that have been very active and they are matched great, and not just black fighters, Xander Zayas, I mean, he's a Puerto Rican fighter. There's a lot of fighters that are young, that are matched very good on their way up to the top before they get the championship fight. Now, when they hit the championship level or the top contender level, and as far as that area, I mean, I'm not saying that Top Rank is bad, but it just seems that it usually comes some sort of a problem with some of these fighters when it comes to re-signing contracts with them, but I don't think that Top Rank is bad, especially for the younger and up and coming fighters, and you can throw Teofimo Lopez in there. I think that, Abdullah Mason, like, he's one of them. To get all of those fights in that Shakur got, and just to watch his growth and his improvements, I don't think it's right to diss them on the way out. And I don't think the contract was bad. At this point, we're not even sure if he's going to get a better contract, with Eddie Hearn or with Floyd Mayweather, wherever he decides to go, So I think dissing promoters, unless you had a really nasty fallout with them, I don't think it's necessary. I think there's a way that you can move forward and still be professional. Like, listen, I did my time here, I did my years here. I made a lot of money here. I became champion in 3 different divisions here. No, I didn't get to fight with Loma. No, I didn't get to fight with Tank. But you still created some great opportunities. And I just don't think the extra talk is necessary. I don't think Bob is the greatest. I don't think he's the greatest person. I don't think he's the greatest promoter. But I think what he did for fighters like Shakur and other young black fighters that's with him now, I think did a good job, not public speaking, but at least matching these guys up with the right people and keeping them very, very active, because you can't say that for a lot of the PBC fighters that's been inactive for a really long time. So I think there's a way that you can move forward in your career without having to always diss the person you were just with. None of these fighters don't always have to have a nasty fallout. There's a way, like, you can say, like, yo, you know what? I appreciate everything that I had done here, all the opportunities, but I'm ready to move forward in my career and go with the next promoter, or at least shop around and see where the next promoter is going to be. What's up, Young Hollywood? What's up, everyone that's joining the chat? So yeah, I think when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, like, we don't really know what's going to happen, because everybody seems to have other opportunities. now that he's leaving Top Rank, I'm not expecting a unification between him and Denny's Baranchek. All right, Loma is looking to try to fight. I mean, there's talks of him and Tank fighting later this year, which I'm gonna get to later in this video. And then he's not going to fight Keyshawn. Frank Martin, he's with the PBC. Are you going to get a PBC fight with him or Tank in the future without signing with the PBC? I don't think so. And do you really want to sign to the PBC? I don't really know. Eddie is a great promoter, but how many options does he have over there? How many lightweight options does he have as a match room? And none of these fighters have to fight the guys that's with the same promoter. Turkey Al-Sheikh has proven to us that any fight can be made. But there are going to be fights that's still going to happen in this sport that he's not going to have any involvement with. So when it comes to that, it still seems like a lot of promoters are going to try to keep things in-house, which is Oscar. That's the way Oscar is moving right now. Oscar has not been a part of these big fights yet. I mean, Virgil Ortiz was supposed to be on that card that's happened, the Riot season out in is that fight with Crawford in Vegas. I believe it's in Vegas. That Riyadh season, I said right, a Riyadh season fight. Virgil Ortiz was supposed to be a part of that, but Tim Tszyu pulled out. So Virgil Ortiz is going to be fighting on the following week against Serhiy Bohachuk. So, which I'm going to talk about in this video as well. All right. This is a live bracket. This is a ride. It's not a premiere. I wanted to go live and just chat with you guys. It's been some time. So, I just wanted to do this weight report, but I wanted to go live because it's been so long since I've been on live. It's been like almost a month now. So, yeah, just wanted to chop it up with you guys. But yeah, so when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, like, oh man, I would like for him to fight William Zepeda, but I understand like there are a lot of options, but who's going to give you the bag? Because you already turned down a $3 million fight minimum with Top Rank. So where are you going to get the bag and where are you going to get the fights? I don't know. But like I brought up yesterday, I was talking a little bit about his rants on social media. And, and I question whether or not Shakur Stevenson is adapting this new bad guy role. And I read some of your comments and some of you disagree with that, but I think there's some truth to it, because he's been more negative than positive. And I know a lot of it is in response to his most recent performance against, what's his name? Artem. But it hasn't really gone that well, and I think from what I'm seeing, it seems like a lot of people really dislike him because of his behavior. He doesn't seem like the most mature person, and yesterday when I made my video, I gave examples of how other fighters can take criticism and take it well. People have fights that they don't look so good, and certain people receive the criticism much differently than how Shakur has been receiving it. Shakur is really, really taking it to heart. And he's been battling all these boxers there on Twitter. But the it's what it is thing with Cam and Mace. This is one of the things I didn't speak on. I brought it up, but I didn't really go into it. I didn't really address it. But I've been paying attention. I do watch it. It is what it is with Cam and Mace. Cam is one of my personal favorite rappers of all time, like top 5. He's my personal favorite. There's a lot of Harlem bias there because Cam and Mace is from Harlem. Mace is a little different. Mace, when it comes to Mace is like, I think Mace might be the only rapper ever that like I ever idolized at some point in my life. not now, but when Mace, like I'm talking about 97, 96, 97, 98, around that time, Mace was like he was like a god, like, you know what I mean? Like everything Mace was like Mace was the best to me, everything about him. Like everything he had so much influence, not just Harlem, but just in New York, you know what I mean? And so I love the show. I do watch the show regularly, you know what I mean? And uh when Shakur started to respond to Cam and Mace, I already knew how it was going to go, because I know how Cam does not care. Cam is always reckless, always been disrespectful throughout his career with anybody, even people outside of rap. And Mace has, even though he's been a pastor and even though he tries to keep it respectful, he talks to people in a way where he can dish you without keeping it very respectful and mature, which is what he's doing with Jay Prince right now. In that recent episode, there's a Jay Prince is Shakur Stevenson's manager, and Jay Prince responded to Cam and Mace, but more in like, in a I felt like when I read the message, I felt like it was some sort of threat in there, because that's the way he carries himself. I don't like seeing stuff like that, because there's, history with Jay Prince, and he has a kind of reputation for that, and I really didn't know what it meant when I saw the message. All I knew is that I hope the message, and I hope these issues that these guys are having with each other doesn't spill out into the real world, and it can just keep it, like, find a way to be respectful. I think we're past being respectful at this point, but I thought it was entertaining to watch. But I also was like, I hope this doesn't lead into something else, because I'm kind of past this kind of drama, and I don't, we saw what happened with, one of the, the Migos rappers, Takeoff, and, how that whole situation ended. And I just don't want to see any beef over this. This is all about people expressing themselves on how the fight went. It shouldn't be any threats over this. You know what I mean? It just shouldn't be. So I'm a little concerned about that. And I think all of these guys are a little too grown into this. And I'm talking about, Jay Prince, Cam, Mace. Even though Mace kept it respectful, I think Mace responded the right way. But I just hope it doesn't go anywhere after this. Like, let's just leave it alone now. You said what you said. They said what they said. Shakur is young. He's going to say whatever he wants to say. But, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, because I didn't speak on it the last time. What's up, Nerd? What's up, Camp-ish? What's up, Beth? Rocket was good. Young Hollywood said definitely Harlem bias, but good bias. Yeah, I mean, Cam, I'm like SDE Cam. Like, I had the SDE album like a year and a half before, the album came out. You know what I mean? Like, the first album, like, that was just in the streets, the songs that wasn't released with the official album. I've been a Cam fan. I remember seeing Cam walking up Lenox by 140th, one time when I was a kid, and my aunt used to live like right across the street on Lenox. And I remember seeing him for the first time when I was younger. Bass, and just, I grew up from that time, and those are my, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of bias there. Rocket says, Wave, the people don't like Shakur because the way he talks before the fight, like he gonna do this and do that, but never lives up to what he says. He talks like he gonna fight like Tank. Yeah, he's never gonna fight like Tank, because he's just not that kind of fighter. He's not that kind of fighter. You know, I think he wants to be that kind of fighter, and I think mentally he goes in there wanting to knock out dudes, but it's easier said than done. You know, he just doesn't have that kind of punch. I think he legit wanted to stop Arthur. And I think by the 6th, 7th round, I think he was really going for it. But Arthur was very durable. You know, even Frank couldn't stop him. And it just took more than, you know, what it is. And Shakur is not going to go. Like I was saying yesterday, Shakur ain't the type of fighter that's just going to throw 5, 6 punches in a row. He's not doing that. He's worried. He's always concerned about what's getting thrown back at him. And look, this is the thing too when it comes to Shakur versus Loma, or Shakur versus Tank, or Shakur versus anybody else at the division. Shakur needs to just embrace who he is. I agree with you. I agree with who left that last match, Rocket. Shakur needs to stop doing all this talking and stick and embrace who he actually is as a fighter. He is not going in there to do what Tank do. He can't. He's not capable of it. That's not the way he is. You know? And he needs to embrace. When I look at Shakur and his strengths to me are defense, counter punching, you know, setting traps, taking away his opponent's strengths. That's what you are good at. You know what I mean? Adjusting. But the key thing is taking away your opponent's strengths. All right? It might not be entertaining. You might not be giving us a phone booth fight. It might not be going blow to blow. All right? It's not that. But the priority is to win the fight. And yes, people say that you're boring. All right, but don't force yourself to be someone that you're not. So even though I would like to see him let his hands go a little bit more, I understand who he is as a fighter at 27 years old. I think he is now. I understand where he is as a fighter. Just like I understand where Teofimo is as a fighter, you know, and Tank is as a fighter, and Devin Haney is as a fighter. I understand who they are. Ryan is a one-trick pony, but that one trick is an overkill. It's like if he lands it, you're done. If he doesn't, he's limited. Everybody has their strengths. The moment you try to start being someone that you're not because you want to please other people, the fact that you're even getting offered $3 million to fight anybody, minimum, you know, and I was listening to Steve Kim. Steve Kim was bringing this up when he was with Coach Malachi today, and he was going into the details about how Oscar De La Hoya is trying to work it out for William Zepeda, where he's trying to go towards the Baranchyk route first so he can pick up a title and then go into the Shakur Stevenson fight as, you know, a unification fight. But going back to my point is just be who you are. You know, I think he has a great chance of being Tank. Would it be a classic? Would it be a fight in the year? I'm not expecting it to be. But if Shakur beats Tank, I know exactly what he's going to do to beat Tank. And the fighters that have been unsuccessful at controlling distance against Tank, Shakur is going to have that event. He's better than those guys. What Frank was doing in that fight, he wasn't going to be able to maintain it because he just doesn't have the defense to do it. You know, he's just not as good as Shakur at fighting that kind of fight. Frank is a guy, he's a little bit of animalistic type of fighter at times. He's a beast. So he can fight that fight and use the ring and be rangy and counter, but he ain't Shakur. So yeah, I think to me, if they were to ever fight, I got Shakur winning on points, but I got Tank winning by knockout. It gets either one or the other. But if Tank can't knock him out, it's going to be hard to win on the scorecards. Same thing with William Zepeda. Like, Shakur is a type of fighter that, with the amount of counters that he could land, it might take the momentum away from a guy like William Zepeda that can easily throw over 1,000 punches. You know what I mean? Those guys Zepeda fought recently, they're good fighters. They're southpaws, but they ain't no Shakur Stevenson. Shakur's going to make you miss and make you pay. Are you going to still be throwing 1,000 punches in a fight against him? No. Now, William could overwhelm him with his volume and beat him, but this is what I'm saying about strengths and styles, you know, making fights. Shakur has a style that can be problematic for a lot of fighters. He might not be action-packed, but you know what I mean? It might not look great to certain people. It might not be the most entertainment, but it's effective. The problem is when he's fighting someone that doesn't really want to engage with him that much, it can be boring. That's what happened with De Los Santos. Or if he fights, or Nakatilia, you know, that fight back in the day. Or if he fights someone where he's clearly winning, but he can't stop him, it becomes boring. It's like Andre. Andre would beat up guys like in the first round. He comes out, he's knocking guys out, he's hurting them. Yeah. First 2-3 rounds, Andre is slaughtering whoever he's fighting. And then out of nowhere, the pacing is still the same. He's starting to slow down. He's clearly winning, but can't get the stoppage. That's why a lot of people thought Andre was boring, because there was nothing that was changing. It's just like the momentum was just drying out. The opponent didn't have nothing for him. He didn't have nothing to stop the opponent. So it was just like, it was boring to a lot of people, you know? So, you know, it is what it is. Said Luther says can't get mad at people if they don't like Shakur. Well, yeah, I agree with that. And this is what I'm saying about Shakur. He needs to just understand that people are going to be critical on him because his style is not for everybody. You know, I didn't like how Top Ring showed people walking out. You know, I didn't think that was classy at all. I didn't like that, but it is what it is. They weren't paid to work out, you know, like, no, people walk out of fights. Go to fights all the time. People be bored. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think it was great that they showed him, but they're not doing him any favors if he's talking shit about them. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It is what it is. What's up, Ralph? What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody in the chat, man? It's good to see you guys. What's up, Armando? What's good? Luther's in here. Rocket, Damon. What's up, Damon? What's good? What's good? All right. What's up, Chance? All right. All right. So, you know, I just want to. I enjoy Shakur fights. Quayo, what's up? What's up? What's up, girl? I enjoy his fights. So, you know, I do enjoy it, but are they the most entertaining? No, I appreciate what he's able to do in there. But yeah, after a certain amount of time, I ain't gonna lie, after that 7th round or so with Shakur and Artem, I was like, all right, it's getting kind of boring now because he's not changing gears here. It's just the same shit, you know. Artem can't do nothing for him, and Shakur can't stop him. All right. So I just wanted to speak on that and address that one last time before I move on. All right. So anyway, let's speak on a few other fights that's coming up. There's a lot of fights. I mean, there's a lot, but I ain't gonna speak on. There's some that I'm really looking forward to, like some of my favorite fights that's coming up. There's more that I ain't gonna address in this video, but I'm just gonna stick it to the few fights that I have listed here. For now and all that. So let's start out with Jared Anderson, Big Baby. Jared Anderson is going to be fighting Martin Bakole. I think this is an extremely dangerous fight. I think Martin Bakole right now is by far the most dangerous fighter that Jared Anderson has fought. And I think he needs to be absolutely cautious in his approach in this fight. Okay. I think Jared Anderson, especially in his last fight against Riyad Murray, I just think that it was just bad, poor matchmaking, and I don't think sometimes, you prepare for a fighter and the fighter doesn't want to really engage. They just want to survive. And that's what happened. And Jared Anderson just fought too cautious. He fought too cautious because Murray was just trying to counter and connect with one good shot. And that fight ended up turning into one of those Shakur Stevenson De Los Santos type of fights. You know what I mean? This is a fight that Jared could lose. All right, because Martin Bakole is no joke. I know he has a loss against Michael Hunter, but he had a shoulder injury in that fight. A legit one. Like he was hurt in the fight while the fight was going. You know what I mean? So Mike Hunter won the fight, but that's the only fight that you can go to where he didn't really look so good. All right, but seeing what he did to attack him and some of these other guys, Tony Yoka. Martin Bakole is a 300-pounder now. He was 300 against Takum. He's been going up in weight. He was down at 250 at one point. He's 300 now. Jared Anderson is not the biggest heavyweight. Jared Anderson is around 240. He's very fit. He's not walking around here carrying the extra unnecessary weight. He's about 240. Oh, he was 250 in his last fight. All right, cool. Jared Anderson is more about volume, speed, counters, switching and all that. But Martin Bakole's big and he hits hard. He hits very, very hard. And, when you think of Jared Anderson, the fight you got to go to is the Charles Martin fight. Charles Martin was able to hurt him a few times in that fight. And Charles Martin's a former champ. You know what I mean? It's not trying to take anything. He was able to, he had nothing for Anthony Joshua, but, he was able to hurt Luis Ortiz. He hurt Jared Anderson. So, I mean, it's not like he doesn't have power. But this is a very dangerous fight for Jared Anderson, and I think this is more dangerous than the Charles Martin fight. Bakole, all these stories of him sparring and beating all these top fighters in sparring. I don't think anyone really wants to fight him. And being that he's fighting at 300 now, like 300 pounds, I don't know, man. I'm a big Jared Anderson fan. I like him, man. He's been like, the favorite unbecoming guy for a little minute, outside, him not really having the interest to stay in the sport and his troubles outside of the ring. I like Jared Anderson a lot, and I really, really want him to win, but I'm really not sure about him winning this fight. This is such a dangerous fight. And the thing is, these guys had time to prepare. This isn't a fight that was announced a couple months ago. You know what I mean? And it's on August. I don't know. I don't know I don't know who's the favorite right now, but This guy, Bakole, is a dangerous fight, and he's big. Pause. He's 300 pounds. So I don't know. What I will say is this, though, in his defense, Jared Anderson has a lot, way more to offer than Tony Yoka and what's it called? Is Takam, Carlos Takam. You know what I mean? He's way better than those guys. So even though Bakole looks like he's been looking like a beast lately, Jared Anderson has much more to offer than those two. You know, and a few other guys that he's been fighting. So Bakole, the best fighter that he fought, in my opinion, was definitely Michael Hunter. And Mike Hunter, even though it was an injury involved, Mike Hunter beat him. So with that being said, you can go either way. I know Bakole has done a lot of talking with sparring, but this could be another Hrgovic situation. Whereas Hrgovic had the better of Daniel Dubois. He was being ducked by a lot of heavyweights. A lot of dudes was avoiding him and all that. Very confident going to the fight. This could be another situation where Bakole is like what you just said, Zen. He could be the sparring king. All right, but we don't got those tapes. He could be all this and all that. Yeah, he might have beaten up a couple guys that were decent recently, but Jared Anderson is a different fighter. I think he has a lot more to offer. So on Jared Anderson's defense, he's better, and he has the speed, the athleticism. I think, in my opinion, he's better in that. I think he has enough experience now to be in there with a Bakole. This is an important heavyweight fight. Very, very important fight. And I can't wait. Me personally, I mean, I don't think it's obviously no pay-per-view or anything like that, but this could have easily been its own card. Like, this could have been its own main event. I would have pulled up if they have this fight in New York. I would have definitely pulled up to this fight like I did last week, for the Jaron Ennis fight. I would have definitely pulled up. I mean, I already seen Jared Anderson fight in New York like 3 times already. I would have definitely pulled up if this was the main event. This is a good fight, and I think whoever wins this fight is right in the mix with those top guys, all of them. Whoever wins is in the mix because Jerry is already top tier contender. He just needed a big win in order to put himself in that position, and I think, he's also a little bit of steam, starting with, the Charles Martin fight, getting hurt a couple times, him having these interviews, having this interest in the sport, not wanting to fight long, getting in trouble with the drinking and driving thing, all that. I think he lost some steam with the Murray fight. Definitely. That's just a bad fight. But it is what it is, man. I can't wait to that fight. I'll definitely do a breakdown. I'm not giving you a pick yet. I mean, you guys know who I want to win. But when I do the breakdown, it's going to be fair. I'm not going to be trying to just pick my guy just because I want him to win. I'm going to do a breakdown. I'm going to do some film study on Martin Bakole. Again, I watch Martin Bakole a lot. I've seen him a lot over the years. So I'm very familiar with him. But still, I'm just going to know Jared is a switcher. So, I want to see. And he's comfortable with fighting in both positions. So I got to see. I definitely got to see. All right. But we'll talk. We'll speak more on that soon enough. All right. So let's talk about the other fight real quick. I want to breeze through this next fight, which I'm not really that much of a fan of, but I'm not mad at it. And this is what the monster now Inoue is going to be fighting. He's going to be fighting TJ Doheny. It's like a blah fight. It's as a respectable opponent. I mean, Doheny is not bad. But I would have loved to see the fight between, if he's staying at 122, MJ Akhmadaliev would have been a better fight. Him fighting even Sam Goodman, to me, would have been a better fight. NJ or Sam Goodman are the only two left to me in 122. You know, unless like a Junto Nakatani were to move up to fight him or something like that. There's not many options because again, he's already beaten the best. He moved up, went straight to Stephen Fulton, fought Marlon Tapales, fought Louis Neary. So I think this is the weakest option right now out of the people that he fought. But he fought three. He went straight up and fought three of the top guys. You know, went straight up and fought Stephen Fulton right away. Got him out of there. You know what I mean? So Tapales was good. Neary was good fights. MJ is for me. MJ is would have been my favorite option. Former champion, lost to Marlon Tapales, very close fight. If you guys never seen the fight, check that out. I believe that fight was a split decision. Let me see. MJ, yeah, that was a split decision win for Marlon Tapales, and MJ was the undefeated champion at that time. All right, but in a way, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I think the other two fights would have been better. You know, Sam Goodman has had some wins, and he's got a win over TJ. So I would have liked, you know, I mean, in this, and I believe MJ was the WBA man though. But all four of the belts. Hey Yvonne, what's up? I see you in there. All four of the belts will be on the line. All right, and I'm glad to see him in there. I think it's like early September in Tokyo. But you know, I'm not really expecting much. You know, TJ's 37 years old, and he's coming off some good wins, a few wins. But this. I'm just saying, based on the level of the people he's been fighting, this is gonna be like. I hate to say that, but it's just like a tune-up compared to what he's been fighting. You know, TJ is not a tune-up himself, but this is a tune-up in comparison to the last three people he just fought, you know, at 122. Feel me? So that's how I feel about that. Again, it's not a bad fight. I'm glad to see him back in the ring, but I think if he stays at 122, I like MJ and I like Goodman. Those are the two fighters that I like that he hasn't fought yet. But it's not much there because some of the guys recently moved up to 126. And there's some guys at 118 that's still down there. All right, but he's been making moves. He's been active. I mean, this will be his second fight this year. You know, he fought twice last year. You know, as long as he's staying active, staying busy, you know, I ain't mad at him. Can't get mad. I mean, three really tough fights. I mean, Paul Butler, he had to fight Paul Butler at 118 to become undisputed. No one wanted that fight, but he had to do what he had to do. It's like how you know, it's kind of like how Crawford had to fight what's the dude name at 140 to become undisputed, and that wasn't the biggest fight. It wasn't the most difficult one, but he was the last piece of the puzzle, and he had to do it. I can't remember the name. African dude that he fought southpaw that he destroyed in like a few rounds to become undisputed. All right. Next topic. Ndongo. Yeah, Julian Ndongo. My bad. I forgot his name. All right. So next topic. Let's see. All right. So Virgil Ortiz, Bohachuk. I've been saying Chuck. Bohachuk is next. All right, and this is going to be the week after the Riyadh season that he was supposed to fight Tim Tszyu on. So August 10th, that Saturday they're going to fight. Very, very good fight. You know, I brought up Surrey a few times. He recently beat Brian Mendoza. All right, in decision, pretty clear 1-2. He's been a dangerous fighter, man. I mean, this is a guy that outside of the one loss, and outside of Brian Mendoza, he's knocked out everybody else he's fought. Now, Brandon Adams, if you had watched that fight is on YouTube, by the way. Brandon Adams clipped him with a hook. It was kind of like a lucky shot type of thing because Bohachuk was clearly winning the fight. Clear. But Brandon Adams caught him and in exchange in between the shots, caught up with a hook, hurt him, got him out of there. It's just one of those things that happen every now and then, yo. Guy just got clipped. It is what it is. All right. That was back in 2021. Bohachuk has been on a nice winning spree since then, stopping everybody. All right. 24 wins, 23 knockouts, that one loss. That's it. And coming off of Brian Mendoza win, he had fought Nate Gallimore, you know, not a couple fights back. I think the only thing with me, and I think Virgil's going to win. You know, Virgil to me is going to win. I think I'm just more concerned. I'm still concerned about his hurt for a little bit. You know, the last couple fights he had, they were at 155, and I know that's just one extra pound off. But the fact that he's not fighting at 154, still a little concerned about. And not only that, but he's fought less than 2 rounds in the last 2 years. So even though Virgil came back, destroyed these 2 guys real quick, it doesn't really mean much if, you know, they're not on your level or close to it. You know, they're not. Those guys that he beat are just, they're not even like, you know, Thomas Delorme is not even a 154 pounder, and he's way past it. He's never been durable, even in his prime. So the few things you got to look at here is that Virgil's health, can he comfortably make 154? Another thing is those 2 fights he had 154. He went 2 years. He didn't fight in 2023 at all. He only fought 2 rounds. So now he's fighting a real dude, a knockout artist too. We still got to be a little bit like, all right, you know, I think, again, I got Virgil winning, but this is a dangerous fight. It's a very dangerous fight. And even though this guy's been knocked out before, I think Bohachuk is going to come into this fight with more awareness of his opponent. Like, you're fighting someone that's dangerous, and you're fighting someone that you had a lot of rounds with. So if you guys didn't watch the presser the other day, I saw the presser. These guys done about 50 rounds with each other. You know, not really knowing that they were ever going to fight each other, because once upon a time, Virgil was at 147. So they weren't on each other's radar, but they do have a lot of sparring time with each other. So you gotta put everything in perspective. Bohachuk has experience in fighting Virgil. He already know what Virgil is capable of. He is a knockout artist. He is the guy that's fought at 154, all right, for some time now. So, you know, it's not a walk in the park for Virgil Ortiz. I think going into the fight is probably his most dangerous opponent to date. Maybe not the most well-known, but I would say going into the fight, the matchup itself, I would have to say since Eggy Kavalauskas, this is probably the most dangerous fight for Virgil Ortiz, especially everything else surrounding it. So don't sleep on this guy. I know he's been knocked out once, but he got knocked out by a guy that, you know, not biggest puncher, just got clipped with a good shot. It happens. But he's knocked out everybody else he's fought and easily beat Brian Mendoza, you know, which is not easy to do. You know, I know Brian's been taking some losses throughout his career. But again, it's like even in his situation against Fundora, Brian Mendoza was losing every part of that fight, and Fundora got clipped. You know, it shit happens. It's part of the game. But you gotta remember, Bohachuk is coming in this fight knowing he's fighting a puncher, knowing he's fighting someone that's skilled, knowing he's fighting someone that he sparred with and has experience with. He knows exactly what to do here. Don't sleep on this fight. This is a great fight. This is a great fight. This is another fight that I would go to. Great fight. Great fight. You know, don't sleep on this dude. He's very, very good. And we just don't know enough about him. It's a mystery on how he can perform on this level. Now, if Virgil goes in there and stops him quick, Virgil's legit. Like, he's legit to me already, but he's legit. You know what I mean? We don't know how good Bohachuk is. I'm just hoping that, again, I hope Virgil is healthy. I hope he can make the weight fine, you know, without it being a problem. And, you know, that's it. You know, that's all I really got to say, man. This 154 division has always been my favorite, and it still continues to be my favorite division because everybody gets their ass kicked at some point. And it could be Virgil's time. It could be Crawford's time. You know, I got to do breakdown for that. I don't sleep at nobody. I don't sleep on none of these dudes at 154. You know, especially the Eastern European fighters. Don't sleep on these guys at 154. You know what I mean? These guys can fight up there. And if you're the guy moving up, don't think it's going to be a walk through the park. Everybody takes L's at that division. So, should be a good fight. Can't wait to see it. All right. All right. And I think, all right, last but not least, let's talk Tank and Lomachenko, which is not official or anything, but they're in talks for a November date. All right. And I think it's real. I think we could finally get it. You know, I think they're both at their point in the career where, you know, Loma wants a big fight. You know, he's on his way out, so he wants the big money. He wants to go out and you know, but if he were to fight Tank and win, it would be his biggest win and his biggest payday. And Tank needs a lot. He still has a lot to prove to the naysayers. You know, people don't respect his resume like that. They don't. I love Tank. But I wanted him to fight Lomachenko years ago. You know, I wanted him to fight him back in, like, what we told him about, 2018, 2019. You know, it's not like I wanted him to fight him like right after the Pedraza fight, but there was a point where Tank was knocking guys out so easily that I said, all right, I want him to fight like someone like a Loma. You know what I mean? I know Loma at the time was considered to be, you know, one of the top few pound for pound fighters, but I've been wanting this fight for a long time. I know Loma is 37. He's definitely slowing down, but he still performed very good in, you know, George Kambosos. He looked good against Haney, you know, even in defeat. He still looked good against Haney, almost stopped him in the 11th. I think he should have pushed for the stoppage in the 12th. I think that's what screwed him out of the fight. But Lomachenko, even at his age, still look very good. And I see people complaining about the fight already, but I'm like, look, if you think Loma beat Haney and he's the first to stop George Kambosos out in Australia, I don't think it's a bad time. Do I think that he's in his absolute prime? No. But Tank is not a big lightweight. You know, I think Tank is the first fighter in a while that Loma's facing that's like not like a natural lightweight. You know what I mean? So Tank is not a big guy. Tank moved up from 126 just like he did. You know, so even though Tank has the youth advantage here, Loma's still coming off some good performances. You know, no one, you know, ever really dominated him. I think Tio did the best against him, but if he was really injured and his shoulder affected his performance, I mean, you know, like, he's still very good to me. What's up, D-Style? What's good with you, bro? Maker, what's up? Shout out to everyone that's joining us. So I don't think anybody should be mad. Do I think the fight should have happened earlier? Absolutely. I think everybody, think all of these fights should have happened earlier. You know what I mean? Everybody should have fought earlier than what they did. Spence and Crawford should have fought earlier. Floyd and Pacquiao should have fought earlier. Fury and everybody should have fought earlier. You know what I mean? Like, listen, it is what it is. But I don't think Lomachenko is bad. I don't think he's in his prime, but I don't think that Lomachenko. Let me say this. No, I'm not going to butt fight, man. I'm not going to be. I'll be right here with you guys on this screen. This is what I'm going to say. I think people are looking too much into age. I don't really necessarily think age is the most. I don't think it's the most the significant factor here in the disadvantage here for Loma. Let me say that. I think it's Loma's style. I think Loma, even in the fights, not just the fights that he's lost in, but some of the other fights that he had where they were really close, like Jermaine Ortiz. I think Loma, his weaknesses has been exposed over the years. You know, his flaws. You know, I think Loma doesn't really fight well on the back foot. I think if you can force him to fight backwards, I think if you go to his body when he's on the inside and make him not like force him to not going into that rhythm where he's using his angles and he's throwing his flurries, I think you can kind of disengage him, you know? You can kind of neutralize him in a way. I think what Tank can do going into this fight is similar to what Tio could do in their fight. All right. I think Tio's jab was really, really strong in that fight. You know, I think Loma was very, very cautious in that fight. And that's why it took so much time to really get it going in that fight. But I think Tank can do that similar. But I think Tank can do it better in the second half. You know, I think Tank overall, as far as him leading and being a pressure fighter, I think he's an overall better pressure fighter than Teofimo Lopez. All right. I think Tio is a better counter puncher more than anything. I think he takes advantage of the guys that try to be aggressive with him. But coming forward and being a pressure fighter, I think Tank is better at doing that. And I think, yes, timing does have a lot to do with it because Loma had a better chance when he was younger and freakishly athletic, and Tank had less experience. So yes, I think Tank, you know, has the advantage here with timing for sure. But I still think Loma is still very good, and I think it's still a very, very good fight, and I still think it's a pay-per-view fight. And I just wouldn't completely count out Loma. I am leaning towards Tank and winning the fight, but I still think it's a very good fight, even though the timing is not at its best. It's still a very, very good fight to me. There was a point where I thought I was leaning towards Loma to win the fight, but this was a very, very long time ago. This was like even before the Teofimo Lopez fight. You know, a very, very long time ago, I thought Loma would have the advantage here. You know, when the talks first started, when they were probably both at like 130, I thought Loma would beat him, right? But for some time now, I think that Tank would, you know, at least be, you know, the toughest match for him, you know? And Tank is not going to get a lot of credit if he were to beat him because of the timing of the fight. You know, people are already saying, well, Loma's old, so that's why he's fighting. And I think a lot of that is true. You know, I think the way that Tank and the matchmaking for Tank has been extremely strategic. He's never been into winning the main world title. All right, outside of it being handed to him being elevated recently as a WBA. It didn't seem like he was looking to be the top tier champion. He wasn't looking to unify. He wasn't looking to be undisputed. And he wasn't looking to fight a lot of these guys in their top prime. He fought Ryan Garcia, but Ryan had to come down to a weight that he pretty much couldn't make anymore. I think he would have beaten Ryan anyway, but I think matchmaking is a big deal for Tank and the people that handle him. And Tank making comments, and this really hurt me when he said, this is the one thing about Tank that really disappointed me. When he was basically saying in interviews like, Floyd was trying to sabotage me by making the Lomachenko fight. See, when I hear stuff like that, it makes me feel like you're not confident. You know, because if Floyd wanted to make the fight, I don't think he was trying to make the fight to make you lose. Maybe Floyd was trying to make the fight because he thought you could win, and it would make you even more of a star. Because if he had beat Loma back at 130, it would have been such a bigger win, you know. No, Chance. He said that for Pedraza. He said that for Pedraza, but he's also said in other interviews that about Lomachenko. He said that too. He said that as well. If I find it, I'll throw it in the comment section later. You know, I'll link it or something. But I heard that in an interview as well. I know he said that about the Pedraza fight. All right, but you got to remember, there's so many times where him and Floyd was beefing, and there's so many interviews, there's so many things that's said, and it seemed like when it came to Loma, it was just, I don't know, like he's just always been like the lack of confidence there, you know what I mean? And at one point, I thought it was just Team Tank that didn't want to fight, you know. So it kind of makes me a little unsure. You know, I mean, now the timing is perfect because it's definitely on a more even playing field. But you can argue that because, like, I think Tank always had the potential to be anybody. You know, I liked his chances better than everybody that Loma faced. But if he doesn't feel that way or they don't feel that way, then it is what it is. They kept everything in-house, you know? And I think that's with a lot of fighters. I think the same with Devin Haney. Why were you not letting him fight Devin? Why are you not letting him fight Shakur? You know, why? Like, what's up? You know, Campus, you got a good point. Like, was it the discipline? I think Tank, I believe that Tank is a top tier talent, period. Pound for pound. I think he is. But the resume part of it is where you gotta, you know, and this is why I don't battle with people, because it's like I feel the same way that a lot of even the haters, the people that just hate him for whatever reason, I'm not gonna battle with you because I feel the same way. Like, you should have fought Loma. I thought you was good enough years ago to fight him. Should have fought Haney. Should have fought. You should be fighting Shakur. There's a demand for the fight. It's not like there's no demand for the fight. There's a demand for the fight. You know, I mean, he fought Frank. I wanted to fight with Frank. You know, Frank was cool, but that wasn't the most desired fight for him. I wanted Frank. You know, Ryan Garcia fight was cool because I knew it was a big fight. But did I personally want to see that fight over T.O., over Loma, over Devin, or Shakur? Absolutely not. Because Ryan was the least proven out of all of them. T.O. was way proven. T.O. had already beaten Loma. You know, even with the George Kambosos fight, T.O. was good, man. He's good. He's legit. I mean, he doesn't look good in every single fight. I mean, the Stephen Claggett fight recently, I didn't even talk of that fight. He doesn't look good in every fight. It is what it is. Teal's going to be that guy that, depending on who he's facing, he's not going to look good in every fight. I've accepted that about Teofimo Lopez. He's going to look spectacular in certain fights, depending on the style. That Claggett guy was all over him. Didn't give him any room to breathe. Guy was just all over him, But I think Tank beats him. I don't think it's a bad time. I think Tank. So in his defense, I personally think the win over Loma is better than, and I'm only bringing this up because I don't know why, but when Bam beat Estrada the other week, it's like everybody started talking about Tank. I mean, I know why, but I mean, it's just that why are we comparing resumes with Tank? Specifically him. These guys don't fight in the same division. They're not connected in any way. Now, Bam beat Estrada. He beat Quadras. He beat Soren Vasai. Those are older guys. But I think Lomachenko is a way better space. And he's been considered way further as far as like skills and talent. And just he's on a level that is above those three. Or, like he's just not in the same like area code with them. Even now, like even having a loss on his record to Haney, 90% of people think Haney lost that fight. Losing to Teofimo Lopez, I mean, still these performances overall, I think it's still a much greater win to have on your resume right now, especially if you're the first to stop him or to beat him better than everybody else did. Even if he's older, it's a fact that you did it without there being any excuses. No shoulder excuses. No blaming on the judges for robberies. No low blows from the Salido fight. You don't have to blame it on nothing. If you could straight up beat him and beat him easier or make it as clear as possible, even at this age, I think it's a much bigger win than those fights with Bam. And I'm not trying to shit on Bam in no way. It's just there's levels to wins, and and there's legends, there's levels to legends. And I think Lomachenko is, when you're in that pound for pound top 5 or even top 3 pound for pound, which he was in his prime conversation, it's just levels of legends, and I think Lomachenko being the greatest amateur fighter of all time and the quickest to win a title is legendary. It's on a different level. This is top tier legend right here. That's still fighting very good. Yeah, I think the Barrios fight is his best win. Based on maybe not the matchup itself, like going into the fight, but that was a win that he had to really, really fight for because he was clearly getting outboxed in those early rounds, and he kept pushing, against a guy that was much taller, but I also do believe that Barrios was drained in that fight. I mean, he was barely making 140, and he's looked much better as a welterweight. Even when he lost to Keith Thurman, even though Keith Thurman mangled his face, he was much better as a welterweight to me, clearly. Yeah, Lomachenko is not just a future Hall of Famer. He's more than that. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. There's a lot of guys that go to the Hall of Fame. I think Estrada is probably going to go to Hall of Fame. I think Estrada is going to be there. Roman Gonzalez is definitely going to the Hall of Fame. But Lomachenko was special. You know what I mean? And in his very prime, he was tough to deal with. But I think it's not just age with him. Yes, he's slowed down. Yes, he's smaller at lightweight. But it's also the fact that people know how to beat him now. more so than they did back when Gary was fighting them, you know, or Walters was fighting him. You know what I mean? But I think Tank is going to win the fight. Stopping Loma, you know, I see a lot of people say that. It's not that I don't think it could happen, because I do think it could. I do think it could. I just think that Loma has the experience to survive. You know, I can't see Loma getting caught in a situation like Frank Martin did. Like Frank Martin was trapped in a corner like a little mouse. You know what I mean? I just can't see that happening. Tank has a way of stopping guys. You know, I don't know. I think Loma could get hurt. I think he could catch a good shot, get dropped. I'm not sure about the stoppage yet. You know, when I do my breakdown and give you a prediction, I'm not sure yet on how it is done. But I am leaning towards Tank to win that fight if they actually fight. And I still do think it's a good fight. And I think if whoever wins that fight should get all the credit in the world. You know, because let's be real. You know, as much shit as people talk about Tank, if Loma is to win that fight against Tank, that will be by far his biggest win. By far. So all this stuff that people, and this is why I think these boxing fans, and not just, but just anyone boxing related, whether you're a content creator, whether you do journalism, you got to be careful on how you talk about these fighters. You know, because when you shit on them and the fighter that you want to win actually wins, you're going to go on and say, well, this fighter beat him. The same fighter you were just shitting on. If Lomachenko beats Tank, that will be his best win by far. Not even close. So when people shit on Tank, you got to remember, if Loma beats him, it's going to be a phenomenal win. I mean, that it will be bigger than, you know, him even, like, I know he fought Haney for Undisputed and he lost his opportunity to win the Undisputed, but that is going to be bigger than that, man. It's going to be bigger than that. You know, it's going to be bigger than that. Tank wins is going to definitely be the best name on his resume for sure, but he's not going to get the credit for it because of the timing. But if Loma wins, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. And you'll never hear the end of it. So it's a good win for both. I think it's Tank's best win, and I think it's Loma's best win, and if whoever wins. And that's what makes it a good fight. Even now, even at the dude being 37 years old, it's still a good win, because look at what it can do for the boxer that wins. You know, I think Tank has more of a responsibility to win in great fashion, only because Loma has losses. So I think with Tank, I think it's more important for him to look good winning, not just winning and just having people say, I thought Loma win. No, I think Tank, at least if not getting the stoppage, he has to make it super clear, right? Whereas Loma, him just winning and being the first to beat Tank, it's gonna be huge for him, but it's gonna look bad for Loma. I mean Tank, because people are gonna be like, well, see, this is why Tank didn't want to fight him all these years. He got exposed. He was always, you know, he was always overrated. That's what's gonna happen. I mean, I'm just at a point now when it comes to boxing, man. I just try to enjoy it for what it is, you know, and I don't go into this like I don't deeply hate fighters like that. You know, I think at one point I did, but I'm not even there no more with nobody. Like with everybody is like, you know, I have certain people I dislike. You know, Ryan Garcia is definitely on the top of that list of people for obvious reasons. But I don't really like be like hating fighters like that no more. You know, I just don't. I don't have an enemy in me anymore. You know, because once they give me that entertainment that I want, and I'm happy, like watching Tank, watching him fight Frank Martin that night. It was a great night. It was fun fight to watch. It was really good. I just can't be mad at these dudes. Some people are just like, I hate this guy. I'm just not like that. I'm not like that with fighters like that anymore. You know what I mean? As long as you give me if you give me a good performance, I'm a fan. If you give me a bad performance, I'll let it slide. Now, if it becomes consistent, then I'm like, I don't want to watch this guy fight. That's where I'm at with fighters right now, you know? Even ones that I've really been mad at, you know, like once you get back in there and you look good, you know, like even with what's his name? Jesus, can't think of his name right now. Who did Daniel Dubois this fight? Not Hergovich. Big Baby. Why can't I think of Big Baby's real name right now? Gerald Miller. What's up, Blade? Gerald Miller has been so disappointed over the years. Failing the drug tests, multiple drug tests. You know, coming in overweight against Daniel Dubois. I mean, I like him because I think he can sell a fight, and he's from New York, you know. But he's just. I've always said, like, dude, just get in shape. Stop trying to cut corners. Stay in shape. But you know, if he comes to fight Andy and he's clean and he's in good shape and he looks good, I can forgive you. And I'm like that with every fighter. You know, I think Ryan Garcia is just the only exception at this point. But I think with everybody else that's failed drug tests in the past, you know, like I still was a fan of them after they came in clean and they look good in a future fight. Kind of get over it, you know. I get over a lot of these fighters. There's only a few fighters where I really just can't stand. But if I really don't. I don't have that hate in my heart anymore. You know. All right. All right, man. Listen, I hope you guys had a good time tonight, man. It's been a while since I like really chopped it up with you guys. I wanted to do a wave report live just so I can just answer some of you guys' questions, you know. I'm gonna get on out of here, man. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up, please. Just smash the like button for me on your way out, and share the video if you can as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all have a good night. Peace.